I'm very happy for the pump in Bitcoin yesterday and the day before, because it started looking shaky for real on Thursday last week and over the weekend. And before that, on 22nd September, I wore a red shirt on a video for the first time, and price did indeed dump further after that. Bearish engulfing candle, key 112k support broken. The right shoulder low of this inverse head and shoulder broken. At that point, it looked ugly and scary. But you and me here on this channel, we weren't born yesterday. We've been around the block. So when these scary scenarios develop, we have to at least consider the possibility that it's a fake, that it's intentionally made as scary as possible. Break the key support to liquidate everyone who had opened new leverage longs with liquidation price below support. Stop out everyone who had their stop loss below that support. Scare people into selling. Get people to open new shorts, betting on further downside. And then run it back up, screwing everyone over again. Markets were created to transfer money from the many to the few. So how do you know the difference between the fake and the real breakdown? Between a head fake and the real turn of trends, the real end of the cycle? Well, the sad answer is that you don't, not fully. These people who had stop loss below support are not idiots. They are seasoned professionals who know what they are doing. So that's the bad news. But the good news is that there are a couple of things that you can do to drastically improve the situation. One thing is to slow down. Larsson Line, for example, did not flip blue, neither on this dump nor on this dump. The other thing you can do, which I find tremendously helpful for myself, is to think in scenarios. Sadly, I'm not a fortune teller. I tried staring into the tea leaves, but then I realized it's coffee. So it didn't work. But what I can do is to identify the three likely scenarios from here. Scenario 1 is what I just covered, and that remains my main scenario from here. That this was just a fake and that they are already running it back. Maybe chop a bit more and then break the final resistance, which I have here at 117,300. If we close comfortably above that, maybe at 118,300, then I think we run to all-time high and beyond, because there's not much volume above that, as you can see here on the right. So probably not much resistance either. A few good arguments for scenario 1, where the main one is that the dump kind of smelled. Bitcoin was acting weird. Gold is looking like this. Stocks like this. Then irrespective if we think that Bitcoin is digital gold, risk off, or a tech thing, risk on, why would Bitcoin dump like this in a rational market? Smells a bit fake, doesn't it? And there's even more. Yields have formed a head and shoulders, meaning on breakdown we get target for yields much lower, and the market seems to like rate cuts here. Another argument is that this starts looking a bit like a flag here, which is a bullish pattern after a move up like this, though not one of the most reliable patterns because it's diagonal. Horizontal patterns are more useful. So those are good news, but it's not crystal clear yet. There are also several arguments against. So that's scenario 1, fake is done. Scenario 2, fake is still ongoing. If this trickery worked so well, liquidations and stop losses hunted, markets spooked into selling, and then they could reaccumulate lower, why not do it again? But even harder. push it until the ETF outflows look like a Chinese dam, because it turns out that the so-called institutions are panic selling when price goes down like most other people. They could push it down until Michael Saylor wakes up at 3 a.m. with a gasp to check Bitcoin price. Push it down until the last optimist starts opening new shorts. And then run it up. Right now, we are above 112k, so this scenario is not in play right now. But let's explore the scenario so that we are prepared if it comes into play. It could happen tomorrow, guys, and if we are not ready mentally, panic sets in and we will all start doing dumb things like most people. But with scenarios prepared, we can instead be ready. If this happens, I will do this. If that happens, I will do that. The key levels below 112k to hit would be the following: 106,100, then break 100k, the magical number, which did give support here twice in June. Imagine the panic if this breaks, guys. And then, if there's still any bulls left in the room after that, maybe take out 90,802, which was the legendary support throughout end of 2024 and early 2025. There will not be a single confident Bitcoin bull left after that point. And then they could run it back up, liquidating all the shorts on the way, giving new pump fuel. This sounds like a crazy scenario now, right, guys? Still, that would be less than a 30% correction, which is not uncommon during bull markets. And from the exact week top down to just below 100k, which seems the easier one here, is not even 20%. So this scenario too is not unrealistic, guys. It's not. This could happen. If it does, it would be impossible to, with 100% certainty, distinguish between an orchestrated price manipulation and a cycle end. But just knowing that it's possible means that we can create readiness for it. We can avoid being one of those suckers who open new leverage longs just below 100k, thinking it's going to go like this, when in reality it goes like this. And if this plays out and we see signs of reversal here, that can be very good risk reward to buy instead when everyone else is selling. But that will only be possible if we now prepare. Like, where will those funds come from, so that we can take advantage of it if it happens. So I have readied myself for scenario 2 if it happens, even though I think that scenario 1 is more likely and scenario 1 is definitely the one in play right now, because we're above 112k. Then there is scenario 3. That is that the cycle is over. But Larsson, that's ridiculous. All the influencers are saying that the top will be in 2026. Yeah, I also think that scenario 1 is more likely. But I can guarantee you this. When the top actually happens, almost all the social media guys will be wrong. It won't be obvious. It won't play out like everyone expects it to. That's the whole point of markets. Remember plan B in the last cycle? That price was going to go to 100k for sure? Then it didn't. It turned at 69. Now he's sure again of what will happen this cycle. I got it much more right last time by being humble to the fact that I don't have any tea leaves in my cup. I don't believe I can predict the future of markets with any accuracy, but I do seem to be able to react to what actually happens. And right now, I don't see the signs of a cycle top. But what would it take for me to feel that this could be it? I would need to see several things. The first and most obvious is of course that Larsson Line would need to flip blue. And it has not flipped blue yet. The second is this parabola break, the black line here. It has not broken yet, but as you can see, it is really pretty darn close. The third is perhaps the most worrying one, and we need to zoom out a lot to see it. I made a video long ago, I think 1.5 years ago. At that time I had other scenarios, and in both of them price would go higher than it was then. So I felt we had a very good risk reward then, and it did indeed go a lot higher. So that was a very useful analysis. The observation in that video was that in all the previous 3 cycles, the duration of the pump before the halving and after the halving were almost exactly the same duration, from the bottom to the top. This duration almost same as this duration. This is the first one, second one, same duration from bottom to top, third one, same duration before the halving as after the halving, bottom to top. And if we now do the same exercise, this time halving was here, 20th April, bottom to halving, and then if the duration of the pump after the halving will be the same duration, we see the somewhat worrying observation that that duration has actually already passed. From the low to the halving, and then same duration after the halving. Then there was another observation that we did also, and that was that in the previous cycles the pump after the halving was bigger in percent than the pump before the halving. So bigger on the log scale. Pump after the halving, bigger than pump before the halving. That was the second one. Third one, pump after halving, higher than pump before the halving, though with declining strength. Clearly something is different this time. We did not both get the same duration before and after the halving and a bigger pump post-halving than pre-halving on the log scale. That is already a fact. So if the patterns will resemble, which one is it? Will we still get the bigger pump after the halving, and this just takes longer in time? Of course it could start going faster here, but this would put us sometime in 2026. Or will we still have the same duration? It was just less amplitude this time. This is still plus 100%, guys. So in summary, if this parabola clearly breaks with no chance to redraw it, and Larsson Line flips blue, I will be more careful. I don't try to sell the top. I didn't sell anything here at 124,000. I'm trying to catch most of the uptrend with most of the money, and then avoid most of the downtrends. Scenario 3, cycle is over. Maybe we should call it cycle top. So right now, scenario 1 is in play. We are back above 112k support. Larsson Line hasn't flipped. The parabola is still intact, but I will keep an open mind and readiness to cater for the other 2 scenarios. If scenario 1 plays out, I will make money. If scenario 2 plays out, I will make money. If scenario 3 plays out, I will make money. Amazing profit from this bull run. In all 3 scenarios, I can come out on top by being prepared and ready. While sadly, based on history, the majority of people will lose money regardless of which of the 3 scenarios that plays out. Unless you drink tea, don't think you can predict the future, guys. But what we can all do is to be prepared and react. I'll be back later in the week with key insights about Solana and other projects. This is what controls Solana now. But right now, all eyes on Granddaddy Bitcoin. That's what matters now for the whole crypto market. Congrats everyone who have taken part in our commodities engagement and tech stocks. Amazing. You see the true power of diversification right now. Course and Larsson Line Pro is open. Don't get scammed, guys. I will not DM you about some investment opportunity. I have only one website. It's ctolarsson.com. Thank you, tack. CTO Larsson out.